Tonight is not a night for struggle or self-correction. It is a night for understanding the heart with kindness. The heart becomes tired not because it is broken, but because it has been asked to carry too much for too long. Many hearts suffer quietly, believing that rest must be earned through effort or clarity. Yet the heart was never created to be ruled by constant pressure. It was created to recognize truth, to incline toward goodness, and to find peace when it returns to what is essential. Allow these reflections to meet you gently, not as commands, but as reminders meant to ease what has been tightened within you. The heart becomes heavy when it carries responsibilities that were never meant to rest upon it. This heaviness does not arrive suddenly. It builds quietly through repeated habits of worry, self-judgment, and silent pressure. At first, the heart only leans into concern when something feels uncertain. Over time, it begins to believe that constant concern is necessary for survival. What begins as caution slowly turns into a permanent weight. The heart was created to recognize guidance, not to manage every result. There is a deep difference between awareness and control, yet the heart often confuses the two. Awareness allows you to respond wisely to what is present. Control demands that you predict, prevent, and perfect what has not yet arrived. When the heart slips into control, it takes on a task far larger than its design. Worrying about outcomes is one of the most common ways the heart overburdens itself. The heart replays possible futures, searching for reassurance, yet reassurance never arrives because the future cannot be held. Each imagined outcome tightens the heart slightly more, until clarity begins to dim. When clarity dims, decisions feel heavier, rest feels distant, and even simple moments feel crowded with unspoken concern. Judging one's worth is another silent burden. The heart begins to measure itself against expectations, achievements, or past failures. Instead of resting in sincerity, it becomes a courtroom where every action is evaluated. This constant evaluation exhausts the heart. The heart was never meant to be its own judge. When it takes on this role, it loses its softness and becomes rigid. Replaying past mistakes further clouds the heart's light. Reflection can guide growth, but repetition without release traps the heart in a loop. The heart begins to believe that revisiting pain is the same as learning from it. In truth, learning requires insight, not endless return. When the heart cannot let go of the past, it carries yesterday into today, and today into tomorrow. This accumulation leaves no space for clarity. As the heart grows overburdened, its natural sensitivity dulls. Subtle guidance becomes harder to sense. Intuition feels faint. The heart becomes reactive rather than receptive. This is not because guidance has disappeared, but because the heart is crowded. Like a room filled with noise, even gentle signals are drowned out. Rest becomes difficult in this state. The heart remains alert, believing that if it relaxes, something important will be missed or something will fall apart. This belief keeps the body tense. The breath shortens. The mind stays active. Sleep, if it comes, is light and easily disturbed. The heart does not trust rest because it believes rest equals negligence. Relief begins when the heart is permitted to release what it was never meant to hold. This permission is not an action, it is a recognition. A recognition that outcomes are shaped by forces beyond personal effort alone. A recognition that worth is not something to be earned moment by moment. A recognition that the past does not need to be carried forward endlessly. Placing each concern in its proper place restores order. Some concerns belong to action, and action belongs to daylight. Some concerns belong to reflection, and reflection belongs to moments of clarity. But many concerns do not belong to the heart at all. They belong to trust. When the heart tries to replace trust with control, it exhausts itself. Peace does not come from fixing everything. Fixing implies that everything is broken. The heart senses this implication and becomes defensive. Peace comes from understanding limits. Limits are not failures. They are boundaries that protect clarity. When the heart accepts that it does not need to solve existence, it begins to soften. This softening often shows itself physically. The chest feels less tight. The shoulders drop slightly. The breath becomes fuller without effort. These changes are not imagined. They are signs that the heart is releasing excess responsibility. As responsibility lightens, clarity returns naturally. Clarity is the heart's natural state. It does not need to be created, it needs to be uncovered. When burdens fall away, clarity rises on its own. Decisions feel simpler, rest feels safer. The heart regains its ability to listen rather than react. The heart overburdens itself because it believes it must. It believes that vigilance proves care, that worry proves responsibility, that self-criticism proves sincerity. In truth, these habits prove exhaustion. Care without trust becomes anxiety. Responsibility without limits becomes strain. Sincerity without mercy becomes harshness. When the heart is shown mercy, it remembers how to rest. Mercy does not excuse negligence. It removes cruelty. Cruelty toward the self is one of the heaviest loads the heart carries. When this cruelty softens, the heart breathes again. Releasing burden does not mean abandoning effort altogether. It means aligning effort with wisdom. Effort belongs where you can act. Trust belongs where you cannot. When effort and trust are confused, the heart collapses under pressure. When they are separated, balance returns. A heart that releases excess burden becomes receptive again. It can sense guidance without strain. It can respond without panic. It can rest without guilt. This is not passivity, it is alignment. Allow this understanding to settle gently. There is nothing you need to force or change immediately. Even recognizing the weight is a form of release. The heart understands intention before action. Each moment of allowance removes a layer of strain. Clarity returns not with noise, but with quiet. Not with effort, but with easing. Not with control, but with trust. Many hearts remain restless not because they are incapable of peace, but because they believe rest must be earned. Somewhere along the way, the heart learns the idea that it must first become complete, correct, or resolved before it is allowed to soften. This belief does not shout. It whispers quietly through self-pressure. It says, "Not yet, not until, not like this." Over time, this whisper becomes a constant presence, and the heart forgets how to rest without conditions. Perfection is exhausting because it never arrives. The heart chases an image of itself that is always slightly out of reach. Each time it gets close, the image shifts. There is always another flaw to correct, another weakness to address, another uncertainty to remove. This pursuit keeps the heart alert, even in moments meant for rest. The heart believes that if it stops striving, it has failed. Honesty interrupts this cycle. Honesty does not mean confession or explanation. It means acknowledging the truth of the current state without adding judgment. When the heart admits fatigue without labeling it weakness, something important changes. The inner tension begins to loosen. The heart no longer has to perform strength. It is allowed to be what it is. The heart does not heal through pretending. Pretending consumes energy. It asks the heart to maintain an image rather than tend to its needs. This is why people can feel tired even when nothing physically demanding has occurred. The exhaustion comes from maintaining a version of the self that is not aligned with reality. Honesty brings alignment. Alignment restores ease. When the heart says quietly, "I am tired," without shame or justification, gentleness enters. Gentleness is not softness without structure, it is realism without cruelty. The heart responds to gentleness the way the body responds to warmth. It relaxes toward it. Many hearts resist honesty because they fear what will follow. They fear that admitting fatigue will lead to collapse or stagnation. In truth, the opposite happens. When the heart is honest, it stops wasting energy on denial. That energy becomes available for rest, clarity, and renewal. There is no need to be resolved tonight. Resolution belongs to time, not to pressure. Some matters require patience, not solutions. When the heart insists on resolution before rest, it confuses healing with control. Healing unfolds gradually. Rest supports this unfolding. Withholding rest delays it. Perfection demands certainty. Honesty accepts uncertainty. The heart that waits for certainty before resting remains tense indefinitely because certainty is rare. Life does not offer complete assurance. It offers enough guidance for the next step. When the heart accepts this, it stops demanding more than what is available. Honesty also quiets self-punishment. Many hearts believe that rest is a reward for good behavior or progress. When progress feels slow, rest is withheld as a form of discipline. This discipline harms more than it helps. A tired heart cannot grow well. Growth requires nourishment. Rest is nourishment. The heart finds peace when it is allowed to be truthful without punishment. Punishment may appear as harsh self-talk, guilt for needing rest, or comparison with imagined ideals. Each form of punishment tightens the heart further. Removing punishment does not remove responsibility, it removes harm. Honesty invites humility. Humility is not self-devaluation, it is accurate self-perception. An honest heart recognizes its limits without drama. It understands that needing rest is part of being human, not a deviation from it. This understanding softens inner resistance. When honesty replaces perfection, the heart no longer needs to hide. Hiding creates tension. Tension disrupts rest. When the heart feels safe to be seen as it is, even if only by itself, it settles. Safety allows the nervous system to shift from vigilance into recovery. This is why rest often feels elusive to those who are hardest on themselves. The inner critic keeps the system alert. Alertness prevents deep rest. When honesty quiets the critic, the system finally receives permission to slow down. Honesty also changes how time is experienced. The rush to improve or fix recedes. Moments feel less pressured. The heart no longer measures itself against imaginary deadlines. In this slowed perception, rest becomes accessible. There is no requirement to improve tonight. Improvement is a process that unfolds over many moments. Tonight is simply a moment. Allow it to be what it is. Allow yourself to be what you are. This allowance is not resignation, it is wisdom. A heart that rests in honesty does not abandon aspiration. It restores the strength needed for it. Without rest, aspiration becomes compulsion. With rest, aspiration becomes intention. Intention is lighter than compulsion and more sustainable. Honesty also reconnects the heart with sincerity. When effort is driven by fear of inadequacy, sincerity fades. When effort arises from clarity, sincerity returns. Rest supports sincerity by removing the pressure to appear complete. Notice how honesty feels in the body. There is often a small release, a subtle easing when the heart stops pretending. This easing is the doorway to rest. Follow it gently. Do not analyze it. Simply allow it. The heart was not created to be perfect. It was created to be receptive, responsive, and sincere. When it tries to replace sincerity with perfection, it becomes rigid. Rigidity blocks peace. Honesty restores flexibility. Flexibility allows rest. You are allowed to rest without answers. You are allowed to pause without progress. You are allowed to be incomplete without consequence. These permissions are not indulgences, they are necessities for a living heart. As honesty settles, perfection loosens its grip. The heart no longer strains toward an image. It returns to presence. Presence is where rest lives. Let this understanding remain without effort. You do not need to act on it immediately. Even allowing it to exist begins the process of easing. The heart understands before the mind agrees. The heart becomes unsettled when it is watched too closely for too long. There is a kind of attention that heals, and there is a kind of attention that exhausts. Excessive self-observation belongs to the second kind. It begins with good intention, with the desire to improve, to be sincere, to grow. But when reflection turns into constant monitoring, the heart loses its natural rhythm and begins to tighten under scrutiny. The heart was not created to live under interrogation. When every thought is examined, every feeling analyzed, and every intention questioned, awareness turns heavy. The heart starts to feel as though it is being tested at every moment. This testing creates pressure, and pressure disrupts peace. Instead of becoming clearer, the heart becomes anxious, uncertain, and tense. Reflection has its proper place. It allows learning, correction, and humility, but reflection becomes harmful when it never ends. The heart needs periods of rest from self-evaluation. Without these pauses, even sincerity becomes strained. The heart begins to fear making mistakes rather than trusting growth. This fear contracts the heart and clouds its natural openness. Excessive self-observation also fragments attention. The heart is no longer simply present in experience. It is watching itself experience. This separation creates inner noise. The mind comments on the heart reacts to the commentary, and the cycle continues. Peace cannot settle in a space that is constantly being measured. Many hearts confuse vigilance with sincerity. They believe that constant checking proves awareness. In truth, awareness deepens when observation softens. A heart that is trusted becomes more responsive than one that is constantly corrected. Trust allows the heart to relax into sincerity rather than perform it. When self-observation becomes harsh, the heart contracts. It grows cautious, guarded, and hesitant. Instead of flowing naturally toward what is good, it pauses repeatedly, afraid of misstep. This hesitation drains energy. The heart was not created to walk on constant edge. It was created to incline toward truth with confidence. Softening self-observation restores balance. Softness does not mean carelessness. It means allowing the heart to breathe. When the heart is given space, it naturally adjusts itself. Like water finding level ground, the heart settles when it is not being forced into shape. Peace returns when the heart is trusted rather than interrogated. Trust tells the heart that growth does not require constant supervision. It reassures the heart that sincerity can exist without tension. This reassurance calms the inner environment, allowing clarity to reappear. Excessive self-observation often hides a deeper fear, the fear of being wrong, of falling short, of losing worth. This fear keeps the heart alert. Alertness feels like responsibility, but it is actually insecurity. When the heart feels secure, it no longer needs to monitor itself constantly. Security comes from acceptance. Acceptance does not excuse error. It creates the conditions for correction without harm. A heart that feels accepted can reflect honestly without panic. A heart that feels judged reflects defensively or obsessively. The heart thrives when reflection leads to humility rather than anxiety. Humility opens the heart. Anxiety closes it. The difference lies not in what is observed, but in how it is observed. Gentle awareness heals. Harsh awareness wounds. Notice how the body responds to excessive self-observation. The breath becomes shallow, the shoulders tense, the jaw tightens. These are signs that the heart feels under threat. When observation softens, the body responds immediately. Breath deepens, muscles release. The system moves toward rest. This is why peace often arrives when you stop watching for it. Peace does not like to be examined. It emerges when space is given. The heart settles when attention relaxes. The heart does not need constant correction to remain sincere. Sincerity is its natural inclination. Overmanagement interferes with this inclination. When management steps back, sincerity steps forward. Let the heart be imperfect without surveillance. Let it make small mistakes without alarm. Growth happens naturally in an environment of safety. Safety allows rest. Rest restores clarity. Excessive self-observation keeps the heart awake even when the body is tired. Reducing this observation allows rest to deepen. The heart finally feels permission to stop explaining itself. This does not mean abandoning reflection entirely. It means placing reflection in its rightful time. Daylight is for assessment. Night is for rest. When these roles are confused, the heart never fully settles. Allow yourself moments where you are not watching yourself at all. Simply be present without commentary. These moments restore balance more than hours of analysis. The heart understands when it is trusted. Trust quiets the inner noise. Quiet allows peace. Peace restores the heart's natural clarity. Let this understanding remain without effort. You do not need to apply it immediately. Simply allowing the heart to be less observed begins the easing. The heart weakens not because it lacks strength, but because it is constantly scattered. Noise does this scattering quietly. Not only the noise of voices, devices, and movement, but the inner noise of commentary, reaction, and constant interpretation. When the heart is surrounded by uninterrupted sound and thought, it has no space to gather itself. Over time, this scattering feels like fatigue, confusion, and a subtle loss of direction. Stillness is often misunderstood because it feels unfamiliar to a heart accustomed to activity. Many assume stillness means emptiness, inactivity, or absence of purpose. In truth, stillness is nourishment. It is the condition in which the heart recollects itself. Just as muddy water becomes clear when left undisturbed, the heart regains clarity when noise recedes. Noise fragments attention. The heart begins many movements but completes none. Thoughts interrupt one another. Feelings arise without settling. Intentions form and dissolve quickly. This fragmentation leaves the heart restless. Restlessness is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that the heart has been overstimulated without pause. Stillness restores unity. When external and internal noise quiets, the heart no longer needs to divide itself among competing signals. Attention gathers, sensitivity returns. The heart begins to sense what matters and what does not. This sensing does not require analysis. It arises naturally when the heart is no longer overwhelmed. Stillness does not demand that thoughts stop completely. Thoughts may still appear, but they lose their dominance. They move more slowly. They no longer pull the heart in multiple directions at once. When thoughts are allowed to pass without engagement, the heart remains intact rather than scattered. Many people avoid stillness because they fear what they will encounter in the quiet. They worry that unresolved feelings or difficult memories will surface. Yet constant noise does not heal these things. It only keeps them suspended. Stillness allows them to soften and resolve without force. What arises in stillness comes seeking release, not harm. The heart heals through rhythm. Noise disrupts rhythm. Stillness restores it. In stillness, the breath finds its natural pace. The heartbeat steadies, the body shifts from alertness into balance. These changes signal the heart that it is safe to rest. Stillness also reduces inner urgency. Urgency convinces the heart that something must be done immediately. This sense of emergency keeps the system tense. When urgency fades, the heart realizes that most things can wait. This realization alone eases a significant portion of inner strain. The heart does not require constant stimulation to remain alive. It requires space to digest experience. Without stillness, experiences accumulate without integration. The heart becomes crowded with unfinished impressions. Stillness gives the heart time to absorb and release what it has taken in. There is a difference between silence and stillness. Silence is the absence of sound. Stillness is the absence of interference. You can be surrounded by quiet and still feel restless, or surrounded by sound and feel at peace. Stillness is an inner condition that allows the heart to remain whole. When stillness is welcomed, the heart settles naturally. There is no need to command it. Settling feels like a gentle downward movement of attention, a softening rather than a collapse. This settling allows clarity to return without effort. The heart that rests in stillness becomes more resilient. It is less reactive to noise when noise returns. It is less disturbed by interruption. Stillness strengthens the heart not by hardening it, but by grounding it. Stillness also restores perspective. When noise dominates, small matters feel large and urgent. In stillness, proportion returns. The heart remembers what is essential and what is temporary. This remembrance lightens the emotional load. Many believe they must create stillness. In truth, stillness is already present beneath activity. You do not need to manufacture it. You only need to stop covering it. Each moment you refrain from adding commentary, stillness reveals itself. The heart responds immediately to even brief moments of stillness. A pause between thoughts, a breath without intention, a moment without evaluation. These small openings allow the heart to regroup. Stillness is not withdrawal from life. It is preparation for it. A heart that has rested in stillness engages more wisely. It listens more carefully. It reacts less impulsively. It chooses with clarity. The heart weakened by noise regains strength in quiet. Strength here does not mean force. It means coherence. A coherent heart moves in one direction rather than many conflicting ones. Allow stillness without expectation. Do not demand insight or peace from it. Stillness does not perform. It restores quietly. The more it is left alone, the more it gives. This restoration does not happen all at once. It unfolds gradually, like dust settling after movement stops. Patience allows this process to complete itself. Interference restarts the scattering. Let stillness be what it is. You do not need to label it or measure it. Simply allowing it is enough. The heart knows what to do when noise recedes. Clarity returns not as a sudden realization, but as a gentle ease. Decisions feel lighter. Rest feels safer. The heart no longer strains to be heard because it can finally hear itself. Stillness restores what noise scatters because it reunites what was divided. In this reunion, the heart remembers its natural balance. The heart often believes that control is the same as safety. It learns this belief slowly through experience, disappointment, and uncertainty. When something goes wrong, the heart responds by tightening its grip, promising itself that next time it will anticipate better, plan further, and guard more closely. What begins as caution gradually becomes habit, and habit turns into constant tension. The heart stays alert, not because danger is present, but because it fears losing control. Control feels reassuring at first. It gives the illusion of stability, but over time, it exhausts the heart. Control demands constant attention. It requires the heart to monitor outcomes, manage expectations, and prepare for every possible failure. This effort drains clarity and replaces calm with vigilance. The heart becomes tired not from action, but from bracing itself against what might happen. Trust works differently. Trust does not ask the heart to predict or prevent every outcome. It asks the heart to recognize its limits. This recognition is not defeat, it is wisdom. When the heart accepts that it cannot oversee all of life, it releases a burden it was never meant to carry. This release immediately softens the inner state. Trust steadies because it removes inner conflict. Control pulls the heart in many directions at once. It tries to hold the present steady while managing the future and correcting the past. Trust allows the heart to return fully to the present moment. In the present, breath is already moving, life is already unfolding, and nothing needs to be forced. The heart that trusts no longer scans the horizon constantly for threats. It does not deny that challenges exist. It simply stops living inside them before they arrive. This shift reduces inner noise. When noise decreases, the heart feels space again. Space allows rest. Many hearts fear trust because they confuse it with passivity. They worry that if they stop controlling, everything will fall apart. In reality, excessive control often creates the very strain it seeks to avoid. Trust does not remove effort where effort is required. It limits effort to its proper role. Action is taken where action is possible. Where action is not possible, trust takes its place. The heart was not created to guarantee success or prevent hardship. It was created to remain oriented toward meaning and sincerity. When it tries to replace meaning with outcome management, it loses its balance. Trust restores this balance by returning responsibility to its rightful place. Control keeps the heart braced. Bracing feels like readiness, but it is actually resistance. Resistance blocks rest. Trust relaxes resistance. Relaxation allows the body and heart to settle into a state where clarity and strength can return. Notice how the body responds when trust appears, even briefly. The shoulders drop, the breath deepens, the chest loosens. These are signs that the heart believes it is safe to stop holding everything together. Safety invites rest. Trust also changes how uncertainty is experienced. Without trust, uncertainty feels threatening. With trust, uncertainty becomes tolerable. The heart no longer needs immediate answers to remain calm. This tolerance is essential for rest because many questions cannot be answered at night. The heart that trusts understands timing. It knows that some matters belong to tomorrow, some to action, and some to patience. This understanding removes urgency. Urgency keeps the heart awake. Trust allows it to sleep. Control demands certainty. Trust accepts limitation. Acceptance does not weaken the heart. It strengthens it by conserving energy. Energy conserved through trust becomes available for healing, reflection, and renewal. When trust replaces control, the heart stops bracing against life. It leans into it instead. This leaning is not collapse, it is cooperation. Cooperation allows the heart to move with life rather than against it. Trust does not promise comfort in every moment, but it promises steadiness. Steadiness supports rest. A steady heart does not react sharply to every thought or feeling. It allows experiences to pass without being overwhelmed. The heart rests more deeply when it no longer feels responsible for outcomes beyond its reach. This rest is not negligence, it is alignment. Alignment restores clarity without effort. Control keeps the heart busy. Trust allows it to be still. In stillness, peace becomes possible. Peace does not require certainty, it requires release. Let this understanding settle gently. You do not need to force trust. Trust grows naturally when control loosens. Even a small release changes the inner atmosphere. The heart feels the difference immediately. A trusting heart rests because it no longer fights uncertainty. It allows life to unfold without constant interference. This allowance is the doorway to deeper calm. The heart weakens not because it lacks discipline, but because it is often disciplined without mercy. Many people believe that firmness toward the self produces strength, that constant correction builds character, and that gentleness leads to weakness. Over time, this belief turns inward and becomes harsh self-treatment. The heart is pushed, judged, and restrained until it learns to survive rather than to flourish. Discipline has a place, but discipline without mercy hardens the heart. A hardened heart may appear controlled, but it is tense beneath the surface. It follows rules, but loses warmth. It avoids mistakes, but also avoids ease. This kind of discipline creates endurance, not peace. Endurance can carry the heart only so far before fatigue sets in. Mercy works differently. Mercy does not remove responsibility. It changes the environment in which responsibility is carried. When the heart is treated with compassion, it becomes more honest, more receptive, and more resilient. Mercy allows the heart to acknowledge weakness without shame. Shame is one of the greatest sources of inner exhaustion. A heart driven solely by discipline lives under constant pressure. It measures itself continuously, fearing failure and punishment. This fear keeps the nervous system alert. Alertness blocks rest. A heart shown mercy feels safe enough to soften. Softening allows recovery. Many hearts resist mercy because they believe it will lead to complacency. In truth, mercy strengthens sincerity. When the heart is not afraid of being condemned, it is more willing to correct itself. Correction born of mercy is gentle and effective. Correction born of fear is rigid and draining. Harshness toward oneself clouds intention. The heart becomes more concerned with avoiding error than with seeking truth. This concern narrows awareness. The heart contracts and loses its natural openness. Mercy expands awareness. Expansion allows clarity to return. Notice how the body responds to self-criticism. Muscles tighten, breath shortens, the chest feels constricted. These are signs that the heart feels threatened. When mercy replaces criticism, the body relaxes. Relaxation is not indulgence, it is restoration. The heart learns through encouragement more than punishment. Encouragement invites growth. Punishment enforces compliance. Compliance may produce outward order, but it rarely produces inner peace. The heart needs encouragement to rest. Mercy also restores balance between effort and acceptance. Discipline pushes forward. Mercy allows pause. Without pause, effort becomes strain. With pause, effort becomes sustainable. The heart thrives in this balance. A merciful heart does not ignore its faults. It addresses them without cruelty. It understands that growth is gradual. Impatience creates pressure. Pressure exhausts. Mercy allows time. Many hearts carry guilt unnecessarily. Guilt is often mistaken for accountability. In reality, prolonged guilt drains energy without producing change. Mercy dissolves guilt and replaces it with clarity. Clarity supports meaningful action. The heart shown mercy becomes more trusting. It no longer expects punishment for imperfection. This trust reduces inner vigilance. Reduced vigilance allows rest. Mercy also reconnects the heart with humility. Humility is not self-disparagement. It is realistic self-understanding. A humble heart accepts limits without despair. Acceptance brings peace. Discipline becomes healthy only when guided by mercy. Mercy must lead, discipline must follow. When this order is reversed, the heart becomes brittle. When mercy leads, the heart remains flexible. Flexibility allows healing. A flexible heart adapts to difficulty without breaking. A rigid heart resists and eventually fractures. Mercy preserves flexibility. Rest requires mercy. A heart that believes it must always perform will never fully rest. A heart that knows it is allowed to be imperfect can finally soften. Let mercy replace harshness tonight. This does not require words or affirmations. It requires permission. Permission to be tired, permission to be human, permission to rest without justification. The heart responds immediately to mercy. Even a small softening changes the inner atmosphere. The breath deepens, the chest loosens, the mind quiets slightly. Mercy is not weakness. It is strength expressed gently. It allows the heart to recover what harshness has worn down. A heart shown mercy learns how to rest because it no longer fears being punished for stopping. This safety opens the door to peace. Inner peace is often misunderstood as a destination, something to be reached through effort, discipline, or mastery. The heart is taught to believe that peace comes after improvement, after understanding, after success, or after healing is complete. This belief quietly keeps the heart restless. It places peace in the future and keeps the present tense. In truth, peace is not something the heart earns. It is something the heart returns to when it stops moving away from itself. The heart was not created in agitation. Restlessness is learned. It develops when the heart is repeatedly pulled outward by fear, regret, expectation, and comparison. Each pull stretches the heart slightly further from its center. Over time, this distance feels normal. Peace then seems rare or fragile, when in fact it has simply been covered. Achievement promises peace, but rarely delivers it for long. Each achievement creates a brief pause, followed by new demands. The heart learns to chase completion, believing that the next accomplishment will finally allow rest. This chase keeps the heart in motion. Motion without pause becomes exhaustion. Exhaustion clouds clarity and deepens dissatisfaction. Returning is different from achieving. Returning does not require effort, it requires release. It asks the heart to stop adding layers rather than to build something new. When distractions fall away, peace reveals itself naturally, the way calm water appears when waves settle. Nothing new is added. What was always present becomes visible again. The heart inclines naturally toward calm when it is no longer divided. Division happens when the heart is pulled between past and future, between fear and desire, between judgment and hope. Each division fragments attention. Fragmentation creates noise. Noise hides peace. When division lessens, the heart regathers itself. Fear pulls the heart forward, making it anticipate danger. Regret pulls it backward, replaying what cannot be changed. Expectation pulls it outward, demanding outcomes. When these pulls dominate, the heart never fully arrives anywhere. Peace requires arrival. Arrival happens in the present moment. The present moment is where the heart was designed to live. Here, breath is already moving. Here, life is already sustained without effort. Here, nothing needs to be proven. When the heart returns to this moment without commentary, peace begins to surface. Many resist this return because they believe it means disengaging from life. In reality, it means engaging from a place of wholeness rather than strain. A heart at peace does not withdraw. It participates without tension. It acts without urgency. It responds without panic. Rest is often mistaken for escape. Escape avoids responsibility. Return restores balance. When the heart rests, it does not abandon life. It renews its capacity to meet life with clarity. Without rest, engagement becomes reactive. With rest, engagement becomes intentional. The heart returns to peace when it stops demanding certainty. Certainty is rare and fragile. The heart that waits for certainty before resting remains restless indefinitely. Peace does not require answers. It requires trust that not everything needs to be known right now. Peace also returns when the heart stops measuring itself. Measurement implies comparison, and comparison fragments the heart. When the heart is constantly evaluated, it tightens. Tightness blocks ease. Ease allows peace to re-emerge. Returning to peace does not mean ignoring pain. Pain is part of the human experience. The difference lies in how pain is held. When pain is held with resistance, it multiplies. When it is held with acceptance, it softens. Acceptance is not approval, it is non-resistance. Non-resistance conserves energy. Conserved energy restores peace. The heart learns peace by remembering simplicity. Simplicity is not lack. It is absence of excess. Excess thought, excess worry, excess self-judgment, excess planning all pull the heart away from itself. Removing excess is an act of mercy toward the heart. Peace is quiet by nature. It does not announce itself. It does not demand attention. It is easily overlooked by a heart trained to look for intensity. When intensity fades, peace becomes noticeable. Many believe peace must be maintained actively. In reality, peace maintains itself when disturbance is removed. The heart does not need to hold peace together. It needs to stop disrupting it. Returning to peace is gradual. The heart may step away and return many times. This is not failure. It is practice. Each return strengthens familiarity. Familiarity reduces fear. Reduced fear allows deeper rest. The heart at peace is not numb. It feels fully, but without being overwhelmed. It experiences joy without clinging and sorrow without collapse. This balance is not achieved through control. It emerges through acceptance. Peace also restores perspective. What once felt urgent feels manageable. What once felt overwhelming feels smaller. This shift does not come from changing circumstances, but from changing the heart's relationship to them. Inner peace is not permanent stillness. It is a stable center around which movement can occur. The heart moves, but it knows where to return. This knowing brings confidence and ease. When the heart returns to peace, it does not lose ambition or care. It loses strain. Strain is the weight added by fear. Removing strain does not remove purpose, it refines it. Rest is the doorway through which return happens most easily. In rest, the heart stops reaching outward. It settles back into itself. This settling feels like relief rather than achievement. Nothing needs to be accomplished tonight for peace to exist. Peace is already present beneath effort. Allowing it does not require technique. It requires stopping interference. The heart remembers peace the way the body remembers sleep. Even after long disturbance, the memory remains. When conditions are right, return happens naturally. Let this understanding rest quietly within you. You do not need to hold it tightly. Peace does not respond to grasping. It responds to easing. Inner peace is not something you arrive at once and keep forever. It is something you return to again and again. Each return becomes gentler because the heart recognizes the way. As these reflections come to a gentle close, allow them to settle without effort. There is nothing left to resolve, nothing left to hold in place. Whatever the heart has been carrying can rest now, even if only for this moment. Let the breath continue on its own, let the body soften where it lies, and let the mind release its need to understand. Peace does not require attention to remain present. It reveals itself when attention relaxes. Trust that what truly matters is being held beyond your effort, and allow yourself to rest in that knowing. The heart does not need to travel anywhere to find peace. It only needs permission to return.